right, everybody, we are live with the Denton Record-Chronicle's Brett Vito talking Denton sports. As we do every Monday, we have somebody from the Denton Record-Chronicle, the oracles of information, talking about what's going on in Denton news, Denton sports, Denton entertainment, new businesses, all that good stuff. And so today we have Brett Vito talking about what is new in sports land. Brett, what's been going on in Denton?
There's been a few interesting things that have gone on in Denton sports the last few weeks. I kind of wanted to mention, including one that happened today that was really exciting for the high school community, which I don't typically talk about because that's not what I cover on a regular basis. But Denton Ryan's one of their track and cross country coaches is a big time national class distance runner. His name's Keith Pierce. Finished 31st in the men's race in the Boston Marathon today.
Holy smokes.
31st. And, I think he was like 35th overall. I think like 4 of the elite, Kenyan women, elite national women finished in front of him. But 35th in the Boston Marathon is remarkable.
Yeah.
There's thousands, 20,000 people that run that, some ridiculous number like that. And every elite the marathon person, globally, typically competes in that race, or at least a large number of them. So that was a pretty exciting deal today. And one of our high school writers, Steve Gammel's got a story up on our website on it at the moment. So that was a really exciting thing to have happen today. I think he finished, his previous best finish was like 36, so he moved up a little bit. So that was a pretty exciting a deal for the city of Denton today to have a Denton resident go to Boston and really, fare incredibly well on a national level. So that was exciting. I think we'll probably find out where he finished in his age group, and I imagine he's got to be one of the top 2 or 3 in his age group as well.
Wow, that's incredible. That's just really, really cool.
Yeah, isn't that neat? I mean, it's just, there's a lot of great athletes in Denton. Denton's a great sports town just in terms of the, the people that come through here, high school, college. There's a lot of local high school football players that go on to be pretty elite level players collegiately, and some have even made the NFL. But that's just kind of an off the radar type deal that was pretty exciting today to see him, fare so well in the Boston Marathon.
Yeah. Well, and anytime we can get Denton in a headline, I call it a good story. So it's
But that was pretty interesting. On the college front, something that I do more or less. It's been a really interesting couple of weeks for the UNT men's basketball program. You knew that there was going to be a lot of change when Grant McCaslin took over after Tony Benford was fired. The question was going to be what was going to happen in terms of the roster, who stays, who goes. That is always the case when you have a coaching change. Mm-hmm. So we found out a little bit more in the last couple of days what this team's going to look like next year, because 2 of the returning players that still had eligibility have left the program. Ricky Bryce Jr. and Jamichael Brown have both received their releases from North Texas, so they will be moving on to other programs. Brown was a fairly significant player last year, played quite a bit. Bryce as well. They weren't starters, but I started about 10, 12 games apiece on the year. So those guys are leaving the program, and that is even smaller news than Jeremy Combs leaving as well. Jeremy was their best player, arguably last year, and definitely the year before that. This last year, he's really struggled with an ankle injury. He had 1 year of eligibility remaining. Really smart guy, and he had graduated, so he's elected to leave the program as a graduate transfer. So he will finish up his degree at North Texas this summer, and then he will have the ability to go transfer to any other program that he wants to across the country. The question is who will be interested in him and who will take him. Apparently he's visiting New Mexico, or he visited New Mexico over the weekend, and we'll see where else he might visit before he decides where he's going to go. So those were those 2 departures, or 3, and then they've signed a host of players in the last few weeks around the early signing period, including a guy named Mark Tahenko, or I'm sure that's not how he pronounces his name, but he's from Russia. His dad played on the Soviet team that won the gold medal in the 1988 Olympics. So
wow.
they brought him in, and they've also brought in 3 other junior college players and 1 high school player. They brought in Mike Miller from Shawnee Community College, Roosevelt Smart from New Mexico Junior College, and Topar Cowie from Panola. And then they also signed Emoji Gibson, who is one of the best high school point guards still left on the market in terms of Texas. He played for University High down in Waco, so they've added those guys to their roster. So it'll be a largely different team this next season, and that's all kind of played out over the course of the last, couple of weeks here.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, tons of stuff going on sports-wise here in Denton, as you were saying. Anything else we want to talk about before we wrap up today?
Well, the only other thing that is interesting, especially since it's raining today, is today's the Don January golf tournament for North Texas, one of their annual big scholarship fundraisers. I'm going to probably head down there in a little while just to kind of stop by and see how things are going and say hey to a few people. But that's also going on today. I don't know how much golf they're going to get in considering it's raining buckets, outside. So I don't know how much it's raining down Trophy Club, but that's also going on today. So that's kind of a quick synopsis of what's going on around town.
Well, very, very cool. Well, if you're golfing today, we're sorry. But but lots of cool information about the sports world going on in Denton today. Make sure you check it all out. You can go further into all of this info at DentonRC.com, or, of course, get yourself a physical Denton Record-Chronicle. We have both here available at the Discover Denton Welcome Center, so you can pop on down and see us. Again, this happens every Monday at 2 o'clock. We have folks talking events, business, sports, all that good stuff. Make sure you tune in, again, every single Monday at 2 o'clock. Thank you so much for being here, Brett. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out DentonRadio.com to find new Denton artists and where they're playing next. While you're there, check out the rest of Discover Denton to find restaurants, hotels, and tons of great community events.